Ajanulambit bhujau kanakavadato Sankirtanaikapitaro kamalayataksho Vishwambharo dvijavaro yugatharmapalo Vande jagat priyakaro karunavataro. Translation: I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, whose arms extend down to their knees, who have golden yellow complexions, who have inaugurated the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Their eyes resemble the petals of a lotus flower. They are the maintainers of the living entities, the best of the Brahmanas, the protector of the religious principles for this age, the benefactors of the universe, and the most merciful of all incarnations. Let's repeat this. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, whose arms extend down to their knees,
who
have golden yellow complexions, and who have inaugurated the congregational chanting, of the holy names of the Lord. Cell phones off, please. Don't need to repeat that. Or maybe you do need to repeat that. Their eyes resemble the petals of the lotus flower. They are the maintainers of the living entities. The best of the Brahmanas. The protectors of religious principles for this age. The benefactors of the universe. And the most merciful. Of all incarnations. So there's a commentary here. He says, in this first verse of Mangalacharana, the forms of Sri Gaur and Sri Nityananda are described. They have long arms that stretch to their knees, their complexions are like gold, and their eyes are like the petals of a lotus flower. These two brothers have been described and adored as the inaugurators of the Sankirtana movement, the protectors of the religious principles for this age, the maintainers of the living entities, the benefactors of the universe, the best of the Brahmanas, and the most merciful of all incarnations. Sri Gaurahari and Sri Nityananda are the bestowers of the Mahamantra, the spiritual masters of the universe, and the fathers of the pure chanting of the holy names. They are both benefactors of the universe because they preach the principles of Jivedaya, compassion for all living entities. They are addressed as Karuna and Vishwambhara, merciful and the maintainers of the universe, because they have preached the religious principles for the age of Kali in the form of serving Vishnu and the Vaishnavas through the process of no one knows? Sankirtana, which is the only means of deliverance for the people of this age. Everyone should follow the principles of such prayers by Name Ruchi, having a taste for chanting the holy names, Jive Daya, showing compassion for other living entities, and Vaishnava Seva, serving the Vaishnavas. By using Dvivachana, the verb form for tool, that is the dual case, verb form for two, rather than Bahuvachan, plural verb form. It is established that their preaching, mercy, and protection of Yuga Dharma is different from that found in seminal succession. The arms of great personalities stretch to their knees, as indicated by the words Ajanulambita Bhujao, whereas ordinary people's arms are not like that. Sri Gaur and Sri Nityananda are both Vishnu Tattva, who have appeared in this world. All the symptoms of great personalities were found in their transcendental bodies. It is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 3.42 and 244. One who measures 4 cubits in height and in breadth by his own hand is celebrated as a great personality. Such a person is called Nyagrodha Parimandala. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who personifies all good qualities, has the body of a Nyagrodha Parimandala. His arms are long enough to reach his knees, and his eyes are just like lotus flowers. His nose is like a sesame flower, and his face is as beautiful as the moon. The phrase Kanakavadattao is explained as follows. Since they both perform pastimes in the mood of devotees, their complexions are golden. They are Vishaya Vigraha, or shelter of all the devotees. They are the source of all spiritual beauty, and they attract all living entities. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord Nityananda is his personal manifestation. As stated in the Mahabharata, Dana Dharma, Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram, Suvarna Varna Hemango, Varangas Chandanangadi. In his early pastimes, he appears as a householder with a golden complexion. His limbs are beautiful, and his body smeared with the pulp of sandalwood seems like molten gold. The words Sankirtanaika Pitaro indicate that Sri Gaura-Nityananda are the inaugurators of the Sri Krishna Sankirtana movement. Srila Kaviraj Goswami has written in the Chaitanya Charitamrita as follows: Sankirtana Pravartaka Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sankirtana Yajna Tara Bhaje Shaidanya. Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya is the initiator of Sankirtana, congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. One who worships him through Sankirtana is fortunate indeed. By using the Dvivachana form of the word Vishvambhara, both Vishwarup and Vishvambhara are indicated. Not Nityananda, Vishwarup. Of course, he's also Nityananda. Sri Gaur and Sri Nityananda are both Vishnu Tattva, and since they have distributed love of God to the world through the chanting of the holy names, they are known as Vishvambhara. Sri Nityananda and Sri Vishwarup are one. Please refer to Adi Khanda of this book. Srila Kaviraj Goswami has written in the Chaitanya Charitamrita as follows. This is Adi Leela 3:32-33. In his early pastimes, he is known as Vishvambhara because he floods the world with the nectar of devotion and thus saves the living beings. The verbal root dubrin, which is the root of the word Vishvambhara, indicates nourishing and maintaining. He, Lord Chaitanya, nourishes and maintains the three worlds by distributing love of God. A reference to the word Vishvambhara is given in the Vedas, Atharva Veda, 2nd Kanda, the 3rd Prapataka, 4th Anuvak, 5th Mantra, as follows. Vishvambhara Vishvena Ma Bharasa Pahi Swaha. Please preserve me by sustaining the universe, O Vishvambhara, upholder of the universe. The word Dvija generally refers to Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas who have undergone the purificatory processes. But here, the word Dvijavaro refers to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are dressed as Brahmanas and who have taken the role of Acharyas. Only Brahmanas are meant to take sannyas, and because Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are not qualified. So according to ashram consideration, only Brahmanas are addressed as Dvijavara. Both Sri Gaur and Sri Nityananda took the role of Jagadguru Acharyas and taught devotional service to the Lord to the people of this world. Therefore, they are the crest jewels amongst the Brahmanas. In this incarnation, they did not consider themselves cowherd boys and perform pastimes like Raslila with any cowherd damsels, either in Gauradesh or in Odisha. If one wants to destroy the distinction between Madhurya pastimes of Vrindavan and the Audarya pastimes of Navadvip, then he will commit rasabhas and fall into hell, due to the offense of opposing the conclusions of the author Vrindavan Das Thakur and Ramananda Roy. Does everyone follow that? Or should I explain? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is not missing the opportunity to jab at our friends, the Prakrita Sahajias. Because the Prakrita Sahajias, they like to identify Lord Chaitanya completely with Radha Krishna. Of course, we also identify Lord Chaitanya with Radha Krishna. But they want to place Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into the role of the supreme enjoyer, that is Lord Krishna. Rasik Shekhara Krishna. Whereas Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he is the supreme enjoyer, he has come in this particular form, esoteric form of Krishna in golden form, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasra Parshadam Ityadi, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He's come in this golden form because he doesn't want to enjoy as the enjoyer, instead he wants to enjoy what the devotees are enjoying. Therefore it's called Bhakta Rupa. Bhakta Rupa Suruvakam, and we have Panchatattva. Panchatattva-atmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa. Who is the Bhakta Rupa? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So he's Bhakta Rupa. He wants to enjoy as a devotee. Since he is enjoying as a devotee, he never in his manifest pastimes ever manifested externally any hint of this Ras Lila, or any of the Vrindavan pastimes. He's mentioned two words here that are significant, Madhurya and Audarya. Madhurya means sweetness, particularly the sweetness of Vrindavan Lila, Krishna's informal pastimes wherein love overrules all considerations of Maryada. Maryada means ordinary rules and etiquette, proper, appropriate behavior. In Krishna's pastimes, the principle of Madhurya obscures his Aishwarya. In Vrindavan, Braja Bhakti, that is the primary characteristic of Braja Bhakti. The Madhurya is stronger than the Aishwarya. Although Krishna is the supreme Mahanarayana, the devotees of Krishna in Vrindavan do not appreciate him as much in that form as they appreciate him as Gopala, Nandanandana, Gopijana Vallabha. So when Krishna enjoys in Vrindavan, sometimes he breaks the rules, as he did with respect to enjoying with the gopis, in Ras Lila in particular. Because the gopis, technically speaking, the gopis were already married to various cowherd men. So Krishna was committing adultery. Now on this note, which also requires further explanation, I can cite one very nice story from Srila Prabhupada. It was a room conversation. And there was an Indian gentleman, as a matter of fact, Indian gentleman who had become a Christian. And so he was hearing Srila Prabhupada speak. And after Srila Prabhupada spoke on some completely unrelated matter, the man saw fit to bring up to Srila Prabhupada's attention that I don't like Krishna because Krishna engages in sinful activity. Krishna is engaging in adultery with others' wives, enjoying. So Prabhupada very patiently explained that Krishna is not engaged in everything that Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagat yam jagat, Isha Upanishad says, or Shruti Mantra says. Anything that you can see, including things you can't see, anything in this world, it is the property of God. Everything belongs to God. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. All this, Isha Upanishad says, is that of Isha. So all the creatures in this world, they're expansions from Krishna's energy. Indirectly, they belong to him already. All the gopis were already expansions of Krishna's internal potency. We know from Brahma Samhita. Who knows the verse? Brahma Samhita. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavithabhista virya eva najarupataya kalabhi. The Lakshmi is there. All these Lakshmi sahasrasya sambrahma sevyam. The Lakshmi expansions are there in the form of the gopis. Or another way to look at it is the Lakshmi expansions are there in the form of the Lakshmis. The Gopi expansions are there in the form of the Lakshmis. Depends on your vantage point. This is the absolute subjectivity of devotional service. Someone who is in Vaikuntha Bhav, he will see that the Gopis are all expanding from Lakshmi. Someone who is in Braj Bhakti Bhav, he will see that the Lakshmis are expanding from Radharani. Everybody sees things according to his own. Like this, what do they call that stone? Vaidurya Muni. Depending on how you look at it, it refracts different colors of light. Somebody will say it's shining red, someone sees it shining blue. Sometimes we see this. Prism also will do that. See? Diamonds. So Krishna is like that. He's appreciable from a number of different vantage points and in a number of different bhavas, and he will reveal himself according to the bhava that one approaches him with. If we approach Krishna with a particular bhav, he will respond in that bhav only. There's much to be said about that. But I don't want to digress. So the Lakshmis, they're all expanding from Krishna. The gopis are expanding also. They're also Lakshmis, Radharani. They all belong to Krishna already. And even in this material world, everything is Krishna's energy. It's his separated material energy. Vinna prakriti rashtadha, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. It is his energy only. No one else's but his. So all the gopis belong to Krishna already. There's no question of adultery. And even all the women in this world also belong to Krishna. Prabhupada is explaining to this Christian gentleman, including your wife, sir. You can do the math. Prabhupada says, you are the adulterer. You are envious of Krishna. You are the sinful person. Don't think that just because Krishna is giving you some sanction in the form of the marriage samskar that you're free. It's all illicit. In the absolute vision, it's all illicit. But all of us are Prakriti. We're servants of Krishna. There's only one Purusha. That is Purushottam. So, anyway, in Vrindavan, this is the idea that Krishna, he breaks mundane morality because this is love beyond morality. This is love beyond the rules. What do they say? All is fair in love and in war. Isn't it? In war, nobody follows any rules, isn't it? They do so many things. UN sanctions so many, nobody cares. They own the news companies that are reporting these things anyway. So all is fair in war, and all is also fair in love. But there's only one place where you have love that's manifested beyond all fetters, and that is Braj, Vrindavan. That is why Krishna has this irresistible attraction to Vrindavan. In Brajbhasha, there's a nice poetry. The one poet, his name is Rus Khan. He was an interesting character in himself, but he became a devotee. And he wrote, Sesa, Ganesa, Dinesa, Mahesa, Suresa, Hu Jahi Nirantara Gavain. Kaise? Adi, Anadi, Ananta, Akhanda, Acheda, Abheda, Subeda Batavain. Narada Sukha Vyasaratai, Pachi Harita, Upuni Parana Pavai. Tahi Ahirati Chauhariyam, Chachi Abhari Chachakai Nachna Chavai. That means that Shesha and Ganesha, Dinesha, who is Dinesha? Lord of the day. Who is the one who makes the day happen every morning? Surya. Sesa, Ganesha, Dinesha, Mahesha. We know who Mahesha is. Shiva. Suresha is Indra, king of the gods. They are ceaselessly glorifying him in so many prayers. We know from Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? Ananta Dev is also with his thousands of mouths. He's trying to glorify and can't run out of things to say. So how are they glorifying him? They're calling him Adi, the beginning. Anadi, the one with no beginning. Ananta, unlimited. Akhanda, unbroken, non-dual, that is. Achanda, ineffable. Like this. All negative terms in the Upanishads. Neti, neti. So, Narada Sukhavasaratai, Pachi Harita Upuni Paran Pavai. Even Narad Muni, Vyasdev is receiving this thing. Vyasdev, Shukdev, they are receiving this thing from their gurus, Narad Muni. And even they cannot find the furthest extent of this Lord's infinite glory. But these daughters of the cowherd men, somehow or other, they have some power that when they say Krishna, if you dance, we'll give you a half a spoon of chas, buttermilk. And then Krishna has to do it. The same person who is glorified by all these devatas, they cannot find any limit to his wonderful, so many stotras are there, so many Vedic hymns are there. There's just no end to it. But this person is coming to Vrindavan and stamping his little feet at the beck and call of the gopis, and with the promise of some little buttermilk. Same thing is described in Srimad Bhagavatam also. Krishna, if you dance, we'll give you half a piece of sweetmeat. Especially you see these deities in South India, like that picture. Udupi Krishna. In front of Udupi Krishna, there's this little Krishna, he's dancing. One hand he's holding butter, and the other hand is like this. You've seen this? He's stamping his feet very happily. because he knows that they're going to give him some sandesh if he dances. Pera, mathura pera. So this is the sweetness, madhurya. Even though he's the absolute supreme Godhead, Bilva Thakur says, and he's limitlessly praised throughout the Upanishads and by so many sages and munis and gods, but when he comes to Vrindavan, he is uniquely ornamented. His lotus feet, which are praised throughout all the Shrutis and the Smritis, they are uniquely ornamented by what? Squishy cow dung. This is Krishna. He wants to enjoy in this way. So many people are there. They can offer Vedic mantras. They offer all respect. You ever see a picture of the Vatican? At Christmas time, my mother was watching this Vatican Mass. It's awesome. That huge cathedral and sonorous mantras they're singing in there. And this is Aishwarya Bhav, awe and reverent mood of worship. Every religion, most religions, this is the concept. How many religions do you find where the devotee is chasing God with a stick, tying him up to a wooden mortar, smacking him, shut up? Mukunda Datta also says, Krishna, he's tied to the mortar and he's hankering after Navanitam, Hayangavinam. Navanita means fresh butter churned from Mother Yashoda, or probably from someone else also. Because his mother has more important things to do. So this is the wealth of Braja Bhakti, and this is the particular sweetness that is there in Vrindavan. However, Vrindavan and Mayapur, we know there's really no difference. Vrindavan and Mayapur are the same, just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna are the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. And yet there is a distinction. What is that distinction? That's mentioned in the other word here. We've been dilating now on Madhurya. Now we're going to speak about Audarya. Audarya means magnanimity. The desire of the Supreme Lord to just give it out. This bliss that he is experiencing. First of all, we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita, he comes with a number of reasons, internal and external, confidential and otherwise. He comes to taste the sweetness of Srimati Radharani's love and the love of all the other Brajavasis. He wants to taste that, but he also wants to give it out for free. So that is the ecstasy of Gauradesh, Mayapur Dham, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. Chaitanya's Leela is to enjoy, not as the supreme enjoyer, but as the supreme servant. Bhakta Rupa. He comes as the devotee. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur here is jabbing at the Sahajis because they don't make this distinction. They call it Gaurnagari Bhav. They want to place Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into the position of the enjoyer of the Ras Leela, and that is not his intention. They do not understand the Lord, because they're really approaching him from a prakrita bhakti level. Materialistic, mundane conception of bhakti. They don't have the proper philosophical understanding, and therefore they commit offense in the form of rasabhasa. Rasabhasa means incompatible mixing of bhakti rasa. It's actually not rasa, it's shadow, chaya, bhakti abhas. Chaya rasa, you can say, shadow only, and perverse also. So that's the comment here, that if one wants to destroy the distinction between the Madhurya pastimes of Vrindavan and the Audarya pastimes of Navadvip, then he will commit the rasabhas and fall into hell due to the offense of opposing the conclusions of the author. This is another point. What does Prabhupada say? Rupa Rugunatha Poite Hoiti Akuti. If we want Kavyaham Bhujhabhoshe Jugala Piriti, if we want to understand the Braja Bhakti, then we have to take shelter of the Goswamis, the Acharyas, particularly Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Jeev Goswami. We have to take shelter of their feet. They have this proper understanding of the Lord's intention. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. The person who understood Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intention and made it manifest in this world was whom? Srila Rupa Goswami. What does that verse refer to? Anybody know the pastime in particular? It was read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jai Keshava.
Rupa Goswami understood Lord Chaitanya's mind and he quoted a particular prayer.
Yes.
And he translated that prayer. So Lord Chaitanya said, how has Rupa Goswami understood the
Yeah. Yeah. And the prayer is very intimate, confidential. We don't need to go into it, but the point is that Rupa Goswami was able to translate that madhurya into terms of audarya in a way that were consistent with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire in this world. What is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire in this world? He wants to give out this love of Godhead in the form of Sankirtana, and that's stated here. Sankirtanai kapitarao. Both he and Nityananda Prabhu, they are the fathers, you can say, progenitors of the Sankirtana movement. First line, Ajanalambita Bhujao, he has the long arms we heard about in the purport. Kanakavadato, his complexion is molten gold to reflect his inner bhava. His inner bhava is what? Srimati Radharani. Radha Bhava Dutisolidam Naumi Krishna Sarupam. Although he is Krishna himself, he is wanting to embrace the mood of Srimati Radharani internally. Therefore his complexion is changed. Krishna Varnam, although he is Krishna, Tvisha Krishna, he is not blackish, he is golden. And Sankirtanai Kapitarao, Kamalaya Takshao, that means his eyes are shaped like lotus petals, big eyes. Vishwambharao, we've already heard in the purport, he is maintaining this material world. How? He is maintaining all of us. How? Directly and indirectly. As Vishnu, he is maintaining the universes literally, and as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is maintaining us spiritually. Because we don't have a chance without the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We really don't have a chance. Dvijavaro Yugadharmapalo. Yugadharmapalo, the protector of the religion of this age, which is Sankirtana, we know. Best of the Brahmanas are those who speak on behalf of the Supreme Lord. Vande Jagat Priyakaro. He has endeared himself to the universe, Karanavataro, because they are the most merciful incarnations. Let me finish this purport. The word Dvijavaro may alternatively refer to Dvijarajo, or two full moons that have simultaneously arisen. Regarding Yuga Dharma, the process of self-realization for such yuga is meditation. Treta Yuga is sacrifice. Dwapara Yuga is deity worship. And for Kali Yuga is congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 12.3.52, Kriteya Dhyayatam Vishnam Tretayam Ejatomakai Dwapari Paricharyajam Kalau Dattari Kirtanat. Means the same thing. Whatever result was obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He's quoting so many verses here. Just to save time, I'm not going to sing the Sanskrit. But the translation is, Bhagavatam 12.3.51, My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. 11.5.36 further states, those who are actually advanced in knowledge are able to appreciate the essential value of this age of Kali. Such enlightened persons worship Kali Yuga, because in this fallen age, all perfection of life can be easily achieved by performance of Sankirtana. And in Vishnu Purana 6.2.17, it is stated, Nayam Kriteya Janyajnais Tretayam Dwaparayarchayam Vidapnoti Tadapnoti Kal Sankirtikeshavam. That means more or less the same thing as the above verse. The phrase Yuga Dharma Palao is described as follows. According to scriptures dealing with karmakanda, or fruitive activities, the religious principle for the age of Kali is charity. It's interesting. But as maintainers of the Yuga Dharma, the two most magnanimous lords, Sri Gaura and Sri Nityananda, have inaugurated the congregational chanting of the holy names of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32 and 10.8.9 says, anybody know? Krishna Varnam? Famous verse. Sangopangasa Karshadam Yajnai Sankirtanaya Prayaya Yajanti Hisumeshasiham. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the names of Krishna. That is interpretation of the word Varna. Krishnam Varnayati. He is Sakrishnam Varnayati. He is chanting the name of Krishna. Varna also means it's a verb. Means to chant. Varna also means a class, like we have our Varna Ashrama system. Varna means the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya. So he's in the category of Krishna and he's chanting Krishna. Either way, it works. Prabhupada explains that. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. He comes in white, red, and yellow, and has now appeared as blackish. This was spoken in Dwapara Yuga from the Srimad Bhagavatam. But this time he's yellow. So, Srila Rupa Goswami has offered his obeisance to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Deva as follows. Namo Mahavaranyaya
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurashe Namah.
Simple verse, but if we could understand one fraction of it, it's so deep. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is more magnanimous than any other avatar, even Krishna himself, because he is bestowing freely what no one else has ever given, pure love of Krishna. In other words, magnanimity is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's characteristic, and distributing love of Krishna is his pastime. That is audarya. That is the significance of audarya. Srila Kaviraj Goswami has stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you are indeed interested in logic and argument, kindly apply it to the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you do so, you will find it to be strikingly wonderful. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written about this mercy as follows. Dayal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Dakhare Amaramon. My dear mind, please chant the names of the most merciful Nitai Chaitanya. Actually, the charity given by Sri Gaur Nityananda is matchless, supreme, and unique. They are both maintainers of Yuga Dharma, performers of Sri Krishna Sankirtana, and bestowers of unalloyed love of Godhead. Unalloyed mercy. The words Jagat Priyakaro indicate that Sri Gaur Nityananda are the benefactors of the universe. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has written in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, these two have arisen over the eastern horizon of Gauradesh, West Bengal, being compassionate for the fallen state of the world. These two, the sun and the moon, are very kind to the people of the world. Thus, for the good fortune of all, they have appeared on the horizon of Bengal. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 1.2 further states, Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodadao Gaurodai Pushpavantau Chitraushandau Tamonadau. I offer my respectful obeisance unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gaura to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. How do they bestow benediction upon all? Wonderfully. Think about it. Regarding Karunavataro, these two merciful incarnations, Srila Goswami has written about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the introduction to his Vidagdha Madhava as follows. Anybody know this verse? Anarpita charim chirat karunayavatirna kalau samarpayata mannato rasam shabhakti shriyam hari purata sundarat vidikadam vasanditata sada hridayakandare svudhuva shachinandana. It means, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation ever offered before. Srila Kaviraj Goswami has written in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, who in this world but Nityananda could show his mercy to such an abominable person as me? This is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami speaking. Because he is intoxicated by ecstatic love and is an incarnation of mercy, he does not distinguish between the good and the bad. The mercy of Lord Nityananda showed me Sri Madan Mohan and gave me Sri Madan Mohan as my Lord and Master. That is the first verse of the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. Now, we could read all the verses of the Mangalacharana in the days leading up to Gaur Purnima, or we could read pastimes. I'm going to leave that decision up to you. So please raise your hand if you'd rather hear pastimes. Hard to tell. Maybe half-half. But we're going to read pastimes. This philosophy is hard. Anyway, what time is it? And what time do we stop?
We usually stop around 8:30 to 45, somewhere around there.
Maybe we should ask questions, if anybody has any questions or comments. There are so many august Vaishnavas here, more advanced than I am.
Chaitanya Bhagavat is a little bit different from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it seems because of the past times it's more relishable. Maybe that's because I'm a neophyte. But Chaitanya Charitamrita is considered higher. And within Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think it sort of like refers, well, a lot of these pastimes are already dealt with in Chaitanya Bhagavat, so he doesn't go into them.
There are some opening words here that are relevant. The original name of Chaitanya Bhagavata was Sri Chaitanya Mangala, as Sri Lochan Das Thakur, the disciple of Narahari Sarkar Thakur, wrote another book named Sri Chaitanya Mangala. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur later changed the name of his own book to Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata in order to differentiate the two books. When Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami refers to Sri Chaitanya Mangala in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is referring to this Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. It is said that Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur changed the name of his book to Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata by the desire of Srimati Narayani Devi. Anyway, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of Krishna are described in this book. The pastimes, particularly the Navadvip pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Dev, who is non-different from the son of Nanda, are described. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita deals more with Sri Chaitanya's pastimes as a sannyasi in Nilachala, and therefore may be accepted as a supplement to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's book. This great book is divided into three parts, Adi, Madhya, and Antya. Adi Kanda extends up to the Lord's acceptance of initiation, Madhya Kanda extends up to the Lord's acceptance of sannyas, and Antya Kanda describes some of the Lord's pastimes over a period of a few years in Nilachala. The Lord's later pastimes in Nilachala are not described in this book. Such later pastimes were also not described by Sri Murari Gupta in his book Sri Chaitanya Charita. However, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has written a nice song here, also glorifying this book, which I'll read. Just a translation I'll read. The worshipful Lord and his devotee enjoy in each other's association as Radha and Krishna reveal their sweet pastimes. The combined form of Radha and Krishna, Lord Sri Chaitanya, is the shelter of the fallen souls and the personification of Audarya, magnanimity, and Vipralambha Bhava, service in separation. When the confidential devotee of Sri Gaura, Sri Ramananda Rai, saw with divine eyes that Gaura is the combined form of Radha Krishna, he was not able to see the sannyasi form of Krishna. Being absorbed in the mood of Radha, Krishna forgets himself and exhibits her dazzling complexion. The conjugal pastimes of the Lord are not manifest in his magnanimous pastimes. Vrindavan Das Thakur teaches us that one should not labor hard to find the conjugal pastimes of the Lord in his magnanimous pastimes. Let's use some terminology here. When he says conjugal pastimes, he's referring to Madhurya, as we previously discussed. When he says magnanimous pastimes, he's referring to Audarya, as we previously discussed. At least I look at things in terms of sense and terminology. Maybe others don't. Then I can understand what he's talking about. Lord Krishna, who enchants the heart of Gandharvika and who bestows mercy upon the qualified devotees, does not belong to anyone other than Radharani. The perfection of attaining his lotus feet is achieved by serving Sri Chaitanya, who is the ocean of mercy and friend of the poor. If one hears the topics of Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda, the pangs of one's heart are certainly destroyed forever. By this process of hearing, one attains the eternal benefit of attachment to Krishna and detachment from material enjoyment. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur understood the topics of Krishna described by Srila Vyasdeva in Srimad Bhagavatam, and in the same way, he wrote Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat describing the pastimes of Gaura, who he accepted as Nanda from Krishna. The glorious pastimes of Gaura have been revealed by Sri Vrindavan Das, the servant of Lord Nityananda. Following in his footsteps and always keeping his lotus feet on my head, I write the Gaudiya Bhashya commentary on Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata is a collection of the jewel-like pastimes of Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda. One should always hear and chant with thousands of mouths the unsurpassable glorification of the Lord contained in this book. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur preached the process of pure devotional service, and his lotus feet destroy the desire for material enjoyment. While writing this Gaudiya Bhashya commentary, I beg for his mercy, O Prabhu, let the desire for serving you always remain in my heart. By the desire of Lord Hari and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I am writing this commentary on Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. I will attentively serve their lordships in the kunjas. By the mercy of the devotees, one can achieve all perfection. Therefore, I do not keep any other desire in my mind. The pure devotees of the Lord hear and chant this Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. Sri Gaurkishore Das Bhabaji is the spiritual master of this servant, so I always beg for his mercy. Sri Varshabhanadi Daita Das desires to serve the beloved Lord of Sri Varshabhanadi Devi by giving up all offenses. O Gandharvika Giridhari, I pray day and night for your service while sitting at Sri Vrajapatana Mayapur. This is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur speaking. That's his opening words on his commentary. Anything else?
Yes, not about
Okay.
There's, on Wednesday you mentioned about the importance of taking shelter of Ujamadikari. And we find that Prabhupada, this word is not always referring to the same thing. Sometimes it's referring to faith, sometimes it's referring to knowledge, sometimes it's referring to some ability to preach. Like the word pure devotee, sometimes it means someone who is not a devotee of demigods. He's a pure devotee. All of my devotees in ISKCON are pure devotees. And sometimes it means the Paramahamsa Jagat Guru. So how, as a Kanishadikar, someone who has no ability to even see who's who, how is that applicable, or how do I have this one two values?
Can you rephrase your question simply?
Simply. So once Kanishadikari, they can't really understand who's the Ujamadikari. They're not really qualified to make such distinction.
Yeah.
And then another confusion is sometimes the Ujamadikari is always assumed
Means
to be,
something else.
it's always assumed to be like the Paramahamsa. But sometimes it seems that Prabhupada is referring to many different levels. It's not always saying the same thing.
This is the thing about Krishna conscious philosophy. Sometimes a word doesn't mean what it seems to mean. Just like we have this whole controversy of jiva wins. Where did the jiva come from? We were never in the spiritual world. No one falls from the spiritual world. We were coming from the spiritual world. Prabhupada says that it's difficult because the spiritual world is a very vague term. So in a similar way, you're saying that Uttama Adhikari sometimes refers to the development of one's knowledge, sometimes it refers to the development of one's faith. It seems to refer to, sometimes it refers to a pure devotee. Those are not necessarily exclusive concepts. I think they all apply. Generally, the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto where these three adhikars are discussed, it qualifies that the distinctions between them are based essentially on faith. Shraddhamayo yam purusha, yo yat shraddha sa eva sa. Whatever your faith is, that's what you are. And the person whose faith is more deep and more realized and more expansive, that person is the Uttama Adhikari. He has faith in Krishna, always, in all circumstances. So it's a question of faith for the Kanishta Adhikari as well. When we first come to Krishna consciousness, all we really have to work with is our faith. And we invest our faith in those that appear to us to be good association. That may change sometimes. Sometimes in ISKCON we find devotees, they have faith and they take Diksha from one guru, and then later on their faith changes for whatever reason. I won't say whether it's a positive or negative change. But they decide that they want to take Shiksha from someone else. That is accommodated by our dual system of Guru Parampara, in which there's a Diksha succession as well as a Shiksha succession. And that's fine. But whatever faith one has to invest it in the proper place. One has to find someone who's more advanced than him, and that's usually not too hard to do. And Krishna will, Tesham Satati Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Ityadi. And Krishna will give us instructions what to do next, after that. Uttama Adhikari. Anything else?
Going back to the point that Dharma was making, the Chaitanya, of course, have been written by Srila Prabhupada. And we are actually the direct family of Srila Prabhupada by disciplic succession. And each of these acharyas who come in this disciplic succession provide a special flavor in the understanding of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And so, as the family of Srila Prabhupada, by reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which has been written by him, opens up the possibility for us to understand these texts that have been written by the acharyas who preceded him.
Thank you very much.
But without doing that, those vistas don't open up to us, and we feel unsatisfied. Even though we read these texts, we still feel dissatisfied in our Krishna consciousness.
Thank you very much. That is a very, very important point. Excellent point. And it reminds me of something that Gopi Pranadana told me when I first went to Govardhan. He told me that Prabhupada told him personally that the purports are more important than the verses. Think about that. The purport is meant to explain the verse. The purport is not independent of the verse. But Prabhupada told him that the purports are more important than the verse itself. Because it is our access. It is our access. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kori Aiko. Arna Kori Homani Asha. This is another thing. Sometimes people like to read any and every book under the sun except those written by Srila Prabhupada for him.
There's a nice story told about this. Nice story. It's actually a pastime in our parampara. That is that when Srila Prabhupada first came to the West, he actually said that there was one Bhagavad Gita that had been written by some impersonalist. He said, just use that Bhagavad Gita, but I will write the purports.
Yeah.
So he was even ready to use that Bhagavad Gita with his purports. Fortunately for us that did not happen, because I think those impersonalists would have felt a little empowered that their Bhagavad Gita would be the text on which Prabhupada wrote. But that was Prabhupada's statement, to show how important his purport was. It didn't matter who wrote the Bhagavad Gita, but it was important who wrote the purport of the Bhagavad Gita.
And this is the system since time immemorial. Evam parampara praptam. Evam parampara praptam. We receive it from the Guru. If you don't receive it from the Guru, mantra saying nisphalamata is considered to be impotent, useless. Just like in San Diego, the one devotee, he's Mayapur Nivasi, born in Mayapur. His name is Haridas. He's actually a disciple of Prabhupada's godbrother Sridhar Maharaj as well. So in a sense, we were like equal status, you know. And he's better mridanga player than me, but he wanted to learn something about Shastriya Sangeet theory, classical music theory, and so he came to me and asked me for some instruction. And so I told him there are so many books I can give you that give you basic instruction, you know, introductory instruction. He said, yes, that's all right, but I want Guru. Mm-hmm. The culture is so deep that he didn't care. Even the information was there, he didn't care. He wanted Guru Kripa. That impressed me. So this is the idea. Now, Narottam Das Thakur has also said, that song we sing, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita, they're all on the same transcendental platform. The Hari is the same thing, Guru is the same thing, Vaishnava is the same thing, Srimad Bhagavatam is the same thing, and Bhagavad Gita is the same thing. And in exactly that spirit, I'm going to say that there's no distinction between the Chaitanya Bhagavata and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's a very nice purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which I don't remember the reference just offhand, but Prabhupada is very much emphasizing the principle that one cannot attempt to make transcendental distinctions in terms of rasa until one has understood basic principle of spiritual oneness. And this is a very important thing. Until one understands that Narayan and Krishna are the same thing, one cannot try to think that Krishna is higher than Narayan, or that this book is higher than that book, or these are mundane conceptions of life, and they are offensive, Srila Prabhupada said. We have to be so careful like that. Cannot introduce our mundane logic and calculation into transcendental affairs. Achintya khalu ye bhavanatan starkini yojiyat. And the material mind is always doing this. So you see that those people who are eager to read books other than Srila Prabhupada's books, or who are approaching those books without having assimilated Srila Prabhupada's purports, they do this. They do this. And as we mentioned in the beginning, the Sahajiyas, this is also their characteristic for the same reason. Just as our friends in the modern day and age have tried to access the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or even entered into the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without taking appropriate guidance from Srila Prabhupada. Similarly, 400 or 500 years ago, there were some devotees who did not want to accept the guidance, or were not aware of the guidance offered by Vrindavan Das Thakur, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and the others. This class is going on since time immemorial. So we have to be clear of them. Just like, well, we don't like to mention names, but I will. We have this French poet, Mirabai. So, very popular, very beautiful songs also, poetry. But she's not so much appreciated by Srila Prabhupada or by any Vaishnavas who are really in Parampara. Not only Gaudiya Parampara, any Parampara, they're not so much appreciating because she didn't have a Parampara. And she displayed all these similar characteristics of trying to approach Krishna directly and in a mundane way and without proper understanding. Siddhanta, Acharya Siddhanta, is very, very important. And this is why we have gurus. This is our access. Adav Shraddha, as you were saying. In the beginning we have some faith, we invest it, we assimilate by adopting this attitude of Guru Mukha Padmalakya Chitete Koriya Aikya. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on Bhagavad Gita 241, is it? Vyavasayatmika Bhuti, or is it 44? I get them mixed up. Anyway, he has very clearly written that even if I get nothing out of Krishna consciousness after practicing for 50 years, I'm okay. As long as I'm solidly fixed in following my guru. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. Blinders. That is the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi that Prabhupada credited with his success in spreading Krishna consciousness worldwide. Because that is the access, that is what connects us to these wonderful divine realities that we're reading about in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, all the other scriptures dealing with bhakti. It's coming by Guru Kripa. help you.
I feel sometimes the magnanimous mood of Lord Chaitanya as far as our duty in the ISKCON society.
As far as
Our duty, as far as continuing Lord Chaitanya's mood of giving Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we're choked, you know.
sometimes we're right.
We're choked as far as as Prabhu was saying yesterday, wrecking our brains. What can we do? How can we give more of Lord Chaitanya to the masses? Would you, could you give some insight or some advice on how we can spread Lord Chaitanya's mood more? How can we wreck our brains a little?
You think I'm able?
I think so.
I think we all think you're very able. That's why you're sitting where you're sitting.
Kesava Bharati Maharaj once said, he was giving a class of Kirtan, and he just became very pensive for a minute, and he said, you can't give what you don't have. And then he was quiet for a few more seconds, and then he repeated himself. He said, you can't give what you don't have. I think in the beginning our process is to hear. Someone did for what statistics are worth, someone did a statistical analysis and concluded that Srila Prabhupada gave class on this one verse of Bhagavad Gita more than any other. Does anybody know what it is? Chapter 7, verse 1. Yatha jnasisi tat shrinam. Just listen. Hear. I know that this is what Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu and Govardhan teaches, emphasizes very strongly also. We just need to, we need to hear. In the beginning we hear. We invest our faith in hearing. And when we hear, assimilate, then automatically everything is provided from that point on. In the 11th canto there's a wonderful verse that says, Pungsam kalikritam doshan dravya deshatma sambhavan sarvan harita chittastho bhagavan purushottama. The Supreme Lord within our hearts, when we hear His glories, His name, His pastime, His Bhagavatam, He becomes very pleased and He removes all the impurities that are within us, all the things that are obstructing us, or as He said, choking us. He removes all those things. There are 3 categories that are specified there. Dravya sambhava, those which are the result of faulty facility, you can say. Desha sambhava, those that are from faulty environment. And then finally Atma sambhava, those that are produced out of our own selves, the baggage that we brought along with us from our past lives. Those are the things that are obstructing the natural flow of bhakti, which is actually within us. This is an important thing to consider also. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kalhanai. It's never sadhya, it's never something to be attained. Like Krishna says about the soul. What is that verse? Najayate mriyate. Nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya. It does not come into being, has not come into being, will not come into being. In exactly the same way, because it is of exactly the same stuff. It is intrinsic. It is our ontology. It is what we are. The Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. The Krishna Prema is already there. So just we have to remove the obstructions, and that's what the process of bhakti does. Automatically, it removes all the extraneous coverings. Everything is removed. Whether it's things that we have accumulated from outside or things that we have accumulated over a long, long period of time. It's all removed.
In addition to that, as far as reconcile was saying, you cannot get what you don't have. We see in the beginning, as we come to Krishna consciousness, at least in my state, my first week in the ashram was one of the go give.
You had a book, you gave it.
But while you're giving,
you had the instruction, you accepted the instruction, you gave it. Don't complicate things. Be patient. Act according to the regulative principles. Be determined. Have faith, Rupa Goswami has given us this formula for, a woman when she's first married, she will turn to her husband, okay, where's the baby? Well, it takes some time. It doesn't happen on your wedding night, you give birth. Of course, nowadays anything happens. If they even get married. Or even if birth is allowed to happen. God bless them. Anyway. Now here's another thing. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhunoi. It is not to be attained from any other source. It is within us already. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaya Yadoi. But by this process of hearing, mainly hearing, at least initially hearing, it is all awakened. It comes out naturally. Now, here's where we also want to make a nice point that needs to be made nowadays, because the Sahajis are preaching everywhere now. That there is a class that interprets this verse to mean Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhika Vonoi, means you're not going to get it, you're not going to attain it internally. You have to get it from a Nitya Siddha devotee, someone else. A caste Goswami or a Babaji, most likely, or someone who has allied himself with those two camps. That's wrong. It is within you. This is the distinction between the teachings that are coming through the Saraswat Parampara, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and the Goswamis and the Babajis, who are generally contaminated with the Prakriti Sahajya. It is within us, but it has to be awakened by chanting. And that chanting is not a mechanical process, hearing and chanting, but it is the kripa that goes along with that activates the chanting. What is that song? Guru Krishna Bina Nahi Koi Sadhan Bal. Your sadhan will not have any potency, or you will not have potency to perform sadhana. Either way, if you do not have the blessings of your Guru Kripa.
Vishwanath Bhagavat is having to explain this in a slightly different way. To give the same conclusion that you're leading to. He says that that Krishna consciousness is dormant within us. The full Krishna consciousness is dormant within us. Needs to be awakened. And so the process of awakening this Krishna consciousness is to actually accept a spiritual master who will point out to you your internal service. The service that you have to perform so that you can actually become one with your Krishna consciousness. And he says, once the spiritual master gives you that instruction, you have to become one with that instruction. When you become one with that instruction, you become one with your internal core. The same core that you're talking about. You actually become fully one with that core. And we can see that in the life of Srila Prabhupada. That he considered that his spiritual master's instruction was the most important principle in his life. There was nothing else. He totally lived his spiritual master's instruction. In every way, 24/7, that was his life. And in that way, one thing that Vishwanath Chakravarti explains about breaking the brain is that he says, once you get that instruction, it is your duty to find out the 360-degree meaning of that instruction. What is the full meaning of that instruction? Because you will not understand the full meaning of that instruction on your own accord. You're going to need to have the help of the sadhus. You're going to need the help of the guru. And you're going to need the help of the sastra to get that full understanding of that instruction, so that you can then become one with that instruction and then live that instruction. So that is like, then you will become one with that internal core, which already exists. It needs to be manifest. It's in an unmanifest state. It needs to be manifest.
As Chaitanya Charitamrita states, the order of the spiritual master is the active ingredient of spiritual life. If he doesn't say it in so many words, then I know that Tamal Krishna Goswami said it that way. So, that's Evam Parampara Prabhu. Did you have a question?
I just wanted to get some clarity on Krishna Prema is already inherent in all the jivas, and it has to be awakened by the process of hearing and chanting. How is this compatible, and how it works with the Guru Krishna Kripa by Bhakti Dada Beach? So that we get it from.
Yeah, that is a good question. Guru Kripa, the Guru Prasade by Bhakti Dada Beach means that he is planting this with the instruction comes the potency to fulfill it, if you will. It's already within us, but the seed of inspiration, the seed of blessings, mercy, that's planted. The process is there. He's giving the instructions, and we're given the potency to fulfill them. That's my understanding. Did Johnny got something to add?
So seed, he's talking about the seed.
That is my understanding. That is the seed.
Yeah. So that's exactly. So actually now the seed is being revealed by the scripture. It's the same point as Krishna.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the same thing in 3 different ways.
Yeah, the revelation is taking place, and therefore, in that sense, you are found. Because you've been revealed, now you're found. So the revelation is taken by Guru and you need Guru and Krishna for the revelation. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. People without a spiritual master, they cannot make the advancement. It cannot happen. It's like trying to please Krishna independently of Radharani. She is the Hladini Shakti. There's no question of pleasing Krishna without his Hladini Shakti, because that is the meaning of Hladini Shakti. And the spiritual master is therefore considered to be the representative of Hladini Shakti, and the maidservant of Hladini Shakti as well. Either way. You can look at it in 1,000 different ways, but it always comes down to this point. Anything else?
One thing that came to my mind is like, if we say that one thing that can guarantee us that, okay, then your life will be successful, then you will be successful in Krishna conscious. Like, what that one thing is, like, to focus. I know, like, it's maybe, but the essence. In sense, because the technicalities of all these things, it might be difficult for everyone to understand that. So, like, in simple words, like, simply by chanting, like, it is possible, like, you just keep chanting and keep serving devotees. Like, if you don't understand why you are doing it, but you keep doing it.
You're asking what is the one catch-all simple formula for success in Krishna consciousness?
I think
Whether or not you understand it.
yeah.
Because you're confused by all the intricacies and esoteric. You know what? I saw a bumper sticker on a car. It said, "Shut up and dance." So something like that. Shut up and take prasadam. I mean, the process is there. It's simple. Prabhupada said, what is the difficulty? See, all the time Prabhupada used to say this. What is the difficulty? Chanting, dancing, feasting, and philosophy. There's a million ways to sophisticate that, and there's a million ways to look at it, and there's a million ways to do it, perhaps, but it really is pretty simple. Chant and be happy. Serve Krishna and serve the Vaishnavas. Follow the process. It is very simple. It's not necessarily a difficult thing, although you can make it you can split hairs about it, but it's basically a simple process. We surrender to Krishna. Surrender to Krishna, chiefly through His holy name. But do we really have access to the holy name in the beginning? Do we? What do we have access to in the beginning?
Shadow.
Well, we have a Nam. We have Hari Nam. We're all chanting. But are we chanting? There's Namabhas, shadow chanting. And then there's Shuddhanam is something else. Shuddhanam is when Krishna is actually revealing Himself to us as we recognize Krishna as His name. Okay. Until then, it's a merciful thing. It's a dispensation. We're able to keep the holy name by Krishna's grace, even though we don't really understand Him so much. But by following this process, and particularly by pleasing the Vaishnavas, particularly the Guru, then the holy name will become revealed. Shuddhanam. That's what you say. All the bhajans, they're singing like this. Aparada Guchaide. When my offenses cease and Nama, when I get taste in chanting the holy name, then I can run on the banks of the Ganges at Navadvip. Bhakti knows this. Is that simple enough?
I've noticed that Radhanath Maharaj's disciples have this question. A lot of them ask the same question. What is the one thing that we have to do?
So one day for the unified field theory.
Yeah. One day we were in the presence of Radhanath Maharaj, and this question was popped to him. What is the one thing that you have to do? One of his disciples asked the question. So Maharaj answered the question by saying, you have to be sincere. And so then the question became, okay, what does it mean to be sincere?
I smell a tautology coming.
And so Prabhupada, Radhanath Maharaj referred to Srila Prabhupada, and he said that question was asked of Srila Prabhupada. What does it mean to be sincere? And Srila Prabhupada's answer was, to be sincere. So that's the full loop now, you got the full loop.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't really have to be that complicated. Sometimes we just have to do it.
Tamal Krishna was asked the same question. One of the videos we saw just recently, he was asked that question. What does it mean to be sincere? And so he asked the question of the audience, and one Maharaj in the audience, after many other answers were given, answered by saying, just do it. And everybody answered, you got it. That's the answer.
Yeah, therefore I say, shut up and dance. I thought that was a good one. Yeah, you can fill in the blank, shut up and take prasadam, shut up and, serve your spiritual master, whatever. Basically the same as surrender, that's all. You surrender. Anything else? Should we do more kirtan, or do we take prasadam now?
Kirtan. Maybe it's time.